Welcome back to my Commodore 64 Memories videos. This is where I look at old Commodore 64 software and some of the technical details behind them. Today we have Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, released in 1987 by US Gold. I think I must have been in my middle teenage years when this game finally came out on the Commodore 64. This was back in the day when a film would arrive in the US and then maybe a year later would get released in the UK, and then a couple of years after that might eventually get released on videotape. And you had to go to the local chip shop to go and rent your videotapes. So although this film was released in 1984, the computer game was released at roughly the same time as the video was released for rental, so back in 1987. So yes, a good few years elapsed. Back in the day I had this on tape, but let's look at the disc version in C64 debug GUI. So the disc version is the original US Gold disc version, and this has quite a nice little fast turbo loader. We have this rather lovely title screen, graphically very good, right? The graphics were by Tahir Rashid, the code was Chris Brunning, and the box art was Drew Struzan. I hope I've got your names correct there. After a little bit more loading, after we see that there is drive code running there on the right hand side, a bit more turbo loading, and then we get to the title screen. Eventually, once it fills up its memory, it seems to be loading a bit of game code and lots of graphical data. There we go. Now this was actually quite torturous on the tape version, because the tape version, after you got to the title screen, you had to insert side 2, side B, and then rewind and then press play. And then after you die, it needs to reload all of the data again. So anyway, here we are on the game screen. We've got the red bounding boxes around what are sprites on the screen, and we can see immediately that those snakes, they were characters, not sprites. We can see the red bounding boxes around the guards that you have to whip. Oh gosh, remember the film? The film had people, what was it, drinking blood and eating hearts and ripping hearts out of chests and stuff like that. It was quite gory for the time it was released. Mind you, it was like that on, was it Raiders of the Lost Ark as well? That was very gory as well. I remember watching that when I must have been, oh gosh, 11 years old, maybe 12, for a birthday party, and that sequence came on with the face melting bit, and it scared me, to be honest. But anyway, this was also, if you look back at this film, quite a violent film, quite troubling actually. Anyway, so this game, to be honest, doesn't have the greatest scrolling in the world. You have to wander around, you have to whip the cages open to free the child slaves. Ah yes, the film had child slaves in it. Again, quite disturbing. Brainwashed child slaves, gosh. Anyway, so yes, it's obviously character set animation for the characters in the background there, for opening the cage doors when you whip them. Can I actually find my way through this level? I've got the Vic debug view active at the moment. I don't see any hint that there's any kind of like multiplexing going on. There are 2 sprites for Indy, 2 sprites for each of the guards, a sprite for the fireball, maybe a sprite or 2 for the whip, and that's it. So yeah, no real multiplexing going on there. This is the second level. I managed to complete the first level in C64 debug GUI with its rather buggy joystick implementation. So okay, so yeah, anyway, got another turbo load. Oh yeah, this one, this one's not going to be very easy to complete, is it? So we've got 2 or 3 sprites for the character, and then we've got 2 or 3 sprites for these guard minecart, well, guards in minecarts. The people standing along the side are characters, they're not sprites. And then we get back, because I died, we get back to the high score table entry. So let's go to ICU 64. Since C64 debug GUI shows that there's really no sprite multiplexing going on. I can see in ICU 64 that the tape loader is, yeah, pretty much what I remember from this version of the game. So yes, it was the US Gold, I think the original release version that I had in the UK. Let's look into the disc version. And the disc version, oh, that's intriguing. Just pausing it there, let's zoom into that screen. You can see there what looks like a machine code monitor with the first line and a bit of the next line displayed at the start of the default screen memory there at C0400 in hex. I wonder which machine code monitor that is. I doubt whether there's anything of it left in memory, and there might be, but anyway. So there's the bitmap screen in memory. And this disk version, because of the turbo loader, doesn't display the screen after you press fire. There seems to be a slightly compressed version of the data for the title screen in lower parts of memory, but the actual real graphics for the title screen are higher up in memory. We can see there that the multicolored sprites, oh, that's in the first bank. That's unusual. Usually the first bank is avoided because of the character ROM masking going on for the VIC data. It reduces the amount of data that you can actually display because the character ROM sits in there. It kind of like is hidden from the CPU, but the VIC still sees the character ROM in the first VIC bank. So yes, that's unusual. Anyway, so we can see that we've got the screen data at the beginning of the, actually it's a single buffer screen. And I'm just hunting around for different character set data. We seem to have a couple of character sets up in the last VIC bank. And we seem to have a couple of screens of data as well. Oh, there we go. There's the title screen with the copyright text and some of the legal text on there to begin with. Okay. There's the score panel there down at the bottom. So the score panel is in the other VIC bank. That kind of makes sense. But the main game display is in the first VIC bank, not the last one. Okay. And the score panel is actually in high resolution mode, which is kind of unusual, actually, but it looks pretty good for high resolution defined character set mode. So this character set up at E800 mirrors the game character set, but those areas where the snakes were on the screen were blank. But in the first VIC bank, those snakes are present. So I think what that means is that the game is, the screen data is not changing. If I look at it in the ROM character set view, so those snakes are not animated by changing the characters on the screen. They're going to be animated by changing the actual character set data. So let's look at this data here in memory as the frames animate. Yes, there we go. So we have dynamically animated character set data to animate at least the snakes and also the conveyor belts by the looks of that as well in the character set data. I keep on dying, don't I? And that's because I'm not really concentrating on playing the game. So yeah, we have all of those sprite frames. Let's see if we can find where the lives counter is. So I'm using the ICU 64 memory scan tool here to find a value which is equal to 2, and then decrementing to 1, it reduces the number of possibilities. And I think it's 9FFF memory location there, because that's the only one that consistently remained at the value of 1 when I pressed the deck button. The other values were changing between 1 and 2 and other values as well. So we'll look for something with the CE opcode, which is deck absolute. Let's just do a search through the whole of memory. Yep, there's only one memory location which contains decrement absolute 9FFF. There it is in memory. So let's change that to be, I don't know, like load accumulator absolute address, right? So load accumulator is going to be, what is it? It's a D, if I remember correctly. So let's disassemble that code now? Yes. Okay, good. So that's load accumulator rather than dec, the value of that memory address now. And now if I die, my lives do not decrease because I've removed the dec instruction and just changed it to a load accumulator instruction. So there we go. That's how you can use the ICU64 tools to rapidly find lives cheats if the game does not hide the lives checking code or lives updating code that well. And this game obviously has not. So yeah, anyway, the scrolling in this game is a little bit functional, isn't it? There's a massive score table, or there's a massive game display, you know, score display and logo and everything like that down at the bottom. How many lines is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus maybe 8 or 9 lines, character rows for the score table plus the split. My word. Okay, so yeah, no wonder it's a single buffer screen. By the looks of it, I don't see another screen anywhere else in that big bank for the main game scrolling area. So yeah, unfortunately when the game scrolls around you can see, even though the guards are meant to be you know, on the floor on their knees because they're stunned, if the screen scrolls you can see them moving around and jumping around with respect to the background. So that's not very good, is it? It makes it look like they're juddering over the background, but you know, such is life. Oh gosh, the indie sprite flickered a bit there as well. So there does look like there's a little bit of sprite sorting going on, at least because the guard which was below Indiana appeared in front of Indiana and then flicked behind when the guard moved or walked upwards. So anyway, I managed to complete the first level with infinite lives. Let's see how many times it gets, how many attempts I need to get through this level. So this level, again, uses the same VicBank layout, but at least this time it's full screen scrolling, right? You can see there in the graphics map debug view there how much of the screen data is scrolling. It's the full screen. And that's an unusual choice of game design. Oh gosh, I ran out of lives, didn't I? Because I did not add the infinite lives cheat again. So it loaded extra code, right? So the second part of the game uses different code to the first part of the game. So let's give myself infinite lives in the first part of the game. And hopefully if I exploit the fact that I've got infinite lives, then I don't need to be so careful. And then hopefully, can I get round to the end of the level quickly? Let's see. No, I could not. I ended up going all the way around the houses. All the way around the mines. Anyway, here we go. There's the minecart level entrance. So we can see the sprites get loaded and updated, so all those sprite frames get added. Let's see if we can find what decrements that memory location again. Okay, different code this time. So 66BB needs updating with AD. And now, let's see. Okay, well, I've just died. The thing is that this second part of the game, because it's full screen scrolling, there is no score panel. There's no lives indicator. There's no score indicator. You just don't know how many lives you have left, which is a rather strange game design choice, but okay, never mind. I guess it was done like that because this game needs to rapidly scroll quite quickly, and you really want as much screen real estate as possible so that it gives you, wow, I completed that quite quickly. So it gives you enough time to react. Although you can learn the route through the minecart level to get through there quite easily. Once you memorize the route and the timing, it's actually not too bad, I guess. Okay, let's give myself infinite lives for this third level. Again, this goes back to the previous level 1 engine. It suffers with the same kind of like juddery sprite issue and flickery sprite issues. Okay, The characters in the background are almost certainly dynamically updated characters. You can see that they're not really sprites because the data appears in the debug graphics map view. They're the only thing which are sprites are the guards and the Indiana. There we go. I've gone through the open door, and that's it. It goes back to the first level again, right? So yeah, that's Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So yes, if you like these kind of technical deep dive videos, then please do consider liking or subscribing to this channel, or sending me a super thanks. They are always very much appreciated. Take care, have a great day, evening or night, wherever you are.